keep in mind, colon cancer is the second leading cause of death in the U.S. One out of every 20 of Americans will get colon cancer. The death rates are 50% higher for African Americans than whites. And the largest group that's growing nowadays, which is the reason why they kind of dropped that age down, is those 55 and under. So the new guidelines are say to start at 45. But most of the patients that we diagnose are probably greater than 50 years of age.
And that was just recently changing it to 45, right?
45 for other groups. For African Americans, the data's been out for a few years that African Americans kind of fall in a high risk population group. So for my personal practice, for the last 5 years, I've always been kind of 5 or more years, I've been encouraging my African American patients to get screened earlier. But I can't say that all the physicians were doing that, because I had several physicians, and even including my wife's physician, said that no, she's at average risk, she could wait till 50, and he convinced her to wait till 50. So she's finally getting one. I think, oh yeah, hers is tomorrow. She's getting one tomorrow. But I went ahead and got mine at 45 because I knew that data and things.
I was planning on getting one this year for my physical this year. I'm getting one this year.
I say, Chuck, you missed a happy physical day. I'm surprised you ain't got your shit done already.
Nah, because I didn't know that information, and then I read it in an article. You were supposed to get it at 45. And then I had planned on getting it, and I'm on top of that prostate, like Kwesi said, but I'm definitely getting it this year, because I always thought it was 50. You get the colon.
Right, and it has been, and I kind of blame that on the medical community a little bit for not really putting it out there, and I think that's where you kind of see that discrepancy when it comes down to minorities in health, as far as certain things not being pushed in African Americans as it would be in other groups. Getting your vaccines and getting your other stuff done. So, I mean, you really got to push that 45 to everybody and tell your family members and friends, and then try to get people to get over that stigmata. I mean, that's why I always tell patients, if I talk about colonoscopy and their eyes get all big and they look like they're afraid of it, I back off of it in that first meeting in the office. I actually back away from it and say, hey, look, there's some other non-invasive ways that you can still get screened. There's a stool test that you can do. That's one of the things, Kwesi, you were referring to. There's a stool test you can do called a stool fit test. You can do that every year that looks for blood in your stool. Or you can do this stool Cologuard test. You may have seen a commercial on TV about the guy, the little box that comes in the man. Yeah, exactly. So you can do that as well. All those are good tests for screening. So as long as you're getting one of those tests done, we should be able to catch colon cancer at an early stage.
Well, that's good to know, because like I said, I never had a colonoscopy before, but I have done that in, dropping the male fecal test.
Yeah.
So I've done that the last 2 years, and the results were negative. So, so you're saying that is a good alternative, right? But it's still good to get a colonoscopy for overall.
Yeah. Let me ask a question. Let me ask a question relevant to that. Like that test will determine if you got precancerous cells or precancerous tissue that comes out in your fecal matter, right? But if you got polyps, but if you got polyps that are babies that they could have knocked out in your colonoscopy, that fecal test doesn't catch those, and those could continue to grow, right?
Correct. Yeah, most of those stool tests are used. So there's two stool tests. One detects just blood in your stool, and the other one will detect blood and DNA that may suggest that you have polyps in your colon. But again, most of those studies are done to detect polyps that are greater of a certain size, and it could detect cancer. So it depends on your thoughts. My thought is the whole idea would be to try to remove polyps before it turns into the cancer, rather than finding a test that detects cancer. It's great that you found it, but I'd rather have you check me out and prevent cancer from taking place. And I have a good example of that, not from that test, but I had a guy who had a colonoscopy last week, and he just had a large colon polyp that actually had cancer within it, So I was able to remove the polyp, removed it, sent it to the lab, and the lab came back saying it had some cancer within the polyp. So for him, he came in at the right time to have it done. So if he would have waited another year or two, that probably would have been cancer, and he would have been looking at surgery to remove that section of his colon. So now we know that he has polyps. He had a cancerous polyp that we removed. He's cancer-free, and now he just comes back, and he just has to get his colonoscopy at certain intervals. and then he should be okay.
Yeah, there ain't shit to it, man. They put you to sleep, you don't even know they in your ass. I think I kind of farted and shat on the table a little bit, but it's like, hey, it's part of the deal.
You literally, one minute you're awake, the next minute you're like giving your walking papers to leave.
Pretty much. That's what mine is. That's my experience. I tried to stay awake, but I don't remember anything. I remember the guy.
I don't ever. I try to stay awake.
I laughed a little bit, and I was out. Next thing you know, somebody is offering me some apple juice. You know.
Yeah, that's how it was with me when I saw you. Yeah. When your boy did one for me. Yeah. Then I woke up and Tom was fucking cheesing all up in my face.
Tom actually did it. Tom actually did it.
I just ain't telling Jay that yet. I ain't telling him yet. I've been saving that one.
Here's some apple juice, Jay.
hey. So let me ask you all this, because again, I never had it, and I hear you all. I've heard this term.
Quasi, got to get that done, brother.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna look into that and talk to my doctor about it. When you all refer to polyps, does that put any pressure on anything? Like, let's say, like you said, there's a polyp that's non-cancerous, right?
You wouldn't
does it put any pressure on anything in that area?
No.
Like, what does that do?
Not unless
if it's putting pressure, it's gonna be a fucking problem. You gonna go get that shit checked out.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. Because majority of these polyps that we're finding are patients who don't have any symptoms whatsoever. You know, so most of those precancerous polyps we find, you know, most patients aren't having an issue. You know, the thing about it is that sometimes with colon cancer, which is tough, unless it's in a certain location and it's cancer and it's symptomatic, you know, you're not going to catch it at that early stage. So if somebody's coming to me and they got weight loss, rectal bleeding, change of bowel habits, they're 60 and they never had a colonoscopy ever, if we go in there and find a cancer that explains all that, then I know that cancer is already advanced. You know, they're looking at surgery, they're looking at, you know, some type of other treatment outside of surgery. So the whole goal for prostate cancer, and especially colon cancer, is to try to get in there and catch those things early. Because if you can catch it early at the stage of a polyp and prevent cancer, that's the best case scenario. If you can catch the cancer before it's spread through the colon where you require surgery, that's another best scenario. You just want to catch it early. Prostate cancer is one of those things as well. You catch prostate cancer early, where they're just doing a biopsy or your PSA is elevated, and you go see a urologist and you're plugged into that system, you're not going to die from that prostate cancer. You may have to deal with it just with surveillance and going through life. But if you get something that early because of elevated PSA, you're going to die from something else other than prostate cancer. Yes. You know, it's just those people that you see that never gone to the doctor. They're 70 years old and they have bone pain or this and that, and you come to find out they have prostate cancer that spread, and they haven't, you know, and that's, you know, they haven't been to the doctor in like 20 years or 30 years.
Now, the syphilis might kill you if you don't get them bumps checked out, but the prostate cancer ain't gonna do it to you.
Pretty much, yeah, right. Have to get it all checked out. Bums and that. Okay. Oh, and then with that, the last one would be testicular cancer. We're out of that age group for the most part. It affects usually ages 15 to 39, but we're on the tail end of that. Yeah. So testicular cancer, any lumps, any swelling or any pain that you can't explain, you know, that you got to bring up to somebody as well. Okay. Those are just self-exams that you can kind of do. You can ask your friend to do it, your female friend to do it.
Hey dog, you check my shit out, man. I
got a little question.
Hold on, wait, one second, Chuck. I got one relevant to this real quick. I used to think my doctor was just a freak. I was like, why is he rubbing my nuts like this? The fuck?
Yeah.
Chuck, my bad.
Yeah, it was just a question regarding, you know, because when we get our physical, then we get that report back and they explain that report. And in one of my reports, I had this testosterone level for our age, and we're supposed to be in a range.
You were low.
And I was low. Yeah. And they had me taking DHEA, which I take.
Yeah.
Take 25 milligrams a day. And then along with vitamin D.
Right.
What are your thoughts about those supplements? Are we going to, as we get older and to help us with that energy and that desire, are those supplements we're going to have to take more and more supplements, or Is it something that we should be concerned with, or just tap out? I don't need to do it no more. Be the old stuff, man. I don't want to do it no more.
Or be that guy.
I mean, it's really hard to say.
No, can't be.
Yeah, no. I mean, there was actually this article that just came out that talked about testosterone and vitamin D. I didn't have a chance to read it, but it kind of went along the lines of, I just kind of skimmed it. They were trying to see if some of those things are actually worthwhile. That some people may feel that we're over-treating the vitamin D. Some people feel like that we may be over-treating the low testosterone. So I think it's really going to probably depend on, are those things actually causing symptoms more so than anything else like that? So somebody who has low libido, things of that nature, is testosterone worthwhile? It may be to some degree, okay? And it's really going to come down to the risk, the side effects and the risk profile. Is it worth, is taking the drug going to, it's really just going to come down to pros and cons. Okay, so if you have a low level, but you just have to keep in mind sometimes numbers are numbers for certain things, and sometimes it's not about necessarily treating the numbers, it's treating you as an individual. So sometimes doctors may see one of your numbers and it's abnormal, and they may decide to follow it. And it's mainly because they might be trying to follow it to see if you're having symptoms because of the low numbers or not. And if you're having symptoms because of the low numbers, or you have certain complaints, then it might be a reason to start you on a drug. Okay.
So to piggyback on that, right? So Tom, I see a lot of these centers coming up, the men fitness center. We want to inject you with testosterone. We can do this, the vitamins, things of that nature. Are those things valid? I mean, is that a scam? Is that real? I mean, is that overkill? I mean, because I'm looking at data points. I mean, a lot of guys signing up for this stuff. Right. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think my personal opinion, it's just my personal opinion, is that I think, you got to think that some of those industries, it's $1 billion, industry when it comes to supplements and things of that nature. It's money, and a lot of them don't necessarily have to kind of prove. They don't have any hardcore data behind their supplements, right? So the real thing that you need to ask your physician is taking this going to increase your life, right? Because that's why you would be doing it, right? You either want to be healthier or live longer. And if it's not making you healthier and you're not living longer, then my attitude is, why take it? Right? So most of the medication now, some people will say, hey, well, just taking my high blood pressure medication, should I take it? Well, yeah. Well, if you have high blood pressure and it's uncontrolled, you're at risk for a stroke. I think it's worthwhile for you to be on it, So, but with supplements and vitamin D, I'm kind of more or less hands off on that. I have some patients that are really gung ho on it, but every now and then you have a patient that comes in and they're on like 15 different supplements, and I look at how many supplements are on, and they have nausea, and I'm saying, wait, you take way too much stuff, I mean,
So Doc, I'm gonna go back to my question. So those shots with testosterone shots and things that Chuck talked about, does that stuff work? Is that valid? Is that a scam? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think some of it is probably, depending on who's giving it and where they're giving it. I think it could be necessarily a scam, or somebody's just trying to sell something, right? So for a lot of,
I got an example too. When you finish, Doc, I got an example for you, Cole.
Yeah, no problem. So for a lot of those companies that push those products, you see their advertisements in back of magazines and journals and things of that nature, and you can get it from a health food store, GNC or somewhere like that. Testosterone pills or this and that, they're promoting all this stuff. But again, what you want to do is kind of show them where's the data. So I think what you have to do is kind of have that relationship with your primary care physician and kind of say, hey, would I benefit from like testosterone? Would that be the case?
Right.
Yeah. So like Chuck, I had a low T, on my physicals, I saw this, I'm like, damn. So I did the Bio-TE injectable. I went to a urologist, boom, you show them the thing, they give it to you. And my shit shot.
Is that where you do that?
Nah. They shot a fucking wafer at the top of my ass. They shot a fucking wafer in me. You know what I'm saying? It was like going to shoot that fucking thing in there. But he got my testosterone level up. But just in terms, like to Tom's point, I didn't feel any different, right? So I didn't feel bad in terms of when they checked my shit. So, and then I didn't notice any change in feeling when I was on that fucking injectable. So I was like, fuck that. I don't need to keep doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what my shit is now, but you know, everything is, everything fine. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, I got two questions about the testosterone thing. One, isn't it so that your body is supposed to really develop its own like testosterone and mostly develop it through exercise, right? Like isn't exercise one of those things that help to promote that testosterone hormone and keep it at a certain level?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, yeah, exercise can definitely help with a lot of things, as far as that. But a lot of times, even despite exercise, you can still develop a low testosterone.
Okay. And then the other question I have on the testosterone level is funny what's considered, and I guess it's depending on your doctor or what have you, what's considered an acceptable testosterone level given the range, because I want to say it's something like, I know when I talked to my doctor about it, it was something like 200 or 250. As long as you were in that range. Well, yeah, but I'm saying no, but I'm saying at the minimum, like it was like either 2 or 250. As long as you were there, you were deemed within range of acceptable testosterone. But you certainly want to be, like you just said, Carl, like somewhere in the 850, 900
or some shit.
Yeah, like when you're there, you ain't got no testosterone level. Where if you're at 200, 250, it's like you borderline on the shit. So
right. But the issue, so I think for the age group, I think for 40 to 49-year-olds, I think it's like 250 to like 916 or somewhere like that, as far as that range. But a lot of times when you see that range, you kind of go into that data a little bit, because that's a big range, right?
Yeah, it's huge range.
Somebody at 300 is normal, and somebody at like 800 is normal. And the real question you have is that person clinically any different at 800, or are they any differently at 300? And that's
or does it need a 25 milligram Viagra or 100?
Exactly.
So Tom, speak to that a little bit, because I am in the gym too. I ain't gonna lie to you. So I'm trying to get all the additives to be a great American for the next 50 years.
Right. No. And I do think it's worthwhile. I think if you have decreased desire, fewer spontaneous erections and stuff like that, or you can have some mood swings, so those things can be a reflection of having low testosterone. So, I mean, if you notice those things and you're not depressed and you're kind of moody, that's one of the symptoms, but that's one of those things that when you go to your primary care doctor with, if you're talking to him and he starts checking that off in his head and he checks the testosterone and is low, then that would be somebody where I would say, okay, then it's reasonable to kind of give that person some replacement therapy,
Yeah.
And then,
so guys, I've been on it. So full disclosure, I've been on it since June, and it appears to be working very well. So, like you said, I still got more data points to build on. But, I'm very satisfied with the results.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, go, Michael.
As long as they told you what the side effects are, and you're not having any side effects, some patients, it can cause sleep apnea. Sometimes it can increase acne. Some people notice when they start getting testosterone, you start to feel like a teenager again, you get some acne.
No, but for me, it said your penis grows. That was kind of like the side effect.
I've been getting I've been doing the testosterone for 5 years now.
The shot. So what you doing?
No, I do the supplement. I take a 25 milligrams
great
every
benefit.
day.
Wait, are we talking about testosterone or the gas station pill? Which one of y'all talking?
No. They talking about
gas station pill.
Go to the doctor and get the shot.
I go to the doctor and get mine from my doctor.
Yeah.
I buy mine.
So they give you a shot. I mean, so it depends. Every week, the left cheek, the right cheek.
Yeah.
I give you a shot.
They talked about that little stone. You remember Bam used to talk about that little stone?
Yeah.
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 I'm talking about that little stone.
The black ant.
Yeah.
Chuck on the cock pills. Chuck on the cock pills and Cool on the cock shots.
Yeah, shots. So every week, the right cheek, the left cheek. Switch it up. And I've noticed that the performance is really amazing. I feel like I'm 18 again. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, wow.
Yeah.
So do you do that separate from? Are you only doing testosterone, or are you doing that and something else?
No.
So great. So I go to the gym, and I've noticed I've got a little stronger in the gym too, right? And So now the dude's like, hey man, why? Because my thing was, I'm gonna go to the gym, I eat what I want to eat, right? Chicken wings. So then probably like 3 weeks ago, like, dude, Lou got me on this. Change your diet. So, I was bushing the diet. So then I started changing my diet. So then I started, getting cut up. People like, damn, Cole, man, you looking kind of cool. But then I noticed with the first lady that it was amazing. And she was like, man, god damn, dude, what's going on? What are you doing? What do you mean?
Yep.
So this was a testosterone pill.
Man, dude, it's a
how
big
often
difference.
You gotta get it.
Shot. He gets it every week.
I take a pill. Cool gets the shot.
Yeah, he does a pill. He does shots, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
It's
ladies and gentlemen.
So wait, Chuck,
the generates by Chico
at the
Johnson Man. I'll be right back.
I'm trying to get that you take.
So wait, hold on, Chuck. Your drawers popping out your drawers too? Your shit busting out your drawers like cool?
Yeah, and the desire, it's like you got the desire 24/7, like, and it's like right now it's got to be on a schedule right now because I can't, I'm always wanting it, and and I ain't got no problems, and I'm like Koo said, I got cut up, I got stronger, I'm lean, I ride with no problem. I don't have all the aches and pains,
Sound like you on HGH in this motherfucker.
And then I sleep good. What else? And if you eat right, definitely eat right. That's a good thing.
So I should go in there and fry up this chicken and catfish tonight.
Yeah, I can't condone that, but more power to you, man. I try to really but I have a vice. I get on chips a lot. I eat a lot of potato chips.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. That's kind of what I want to
clean majority of the time. I think having a little chips isn't going to, that's not a big thing.
But I want to run by you. All my life, I drank milk and ate cheese and stuff like that, dairy products.
Oh yeah, that's one of the common ones there.
Right now, I can't do them. It's like bad news.
Can I? Yeah.
So
I've been drinking milk all my life, and now
all my life.
What's wrong? What happens when you drink milk?
They said it should happen.
Well, I'm lactose. Just became lactose intolerant about 3 or 4 years ago.
Motherfuckers get allergies and shit when you hit middle age. Yeah, that happens, man.
Oh yeah, I understand that, but is it something like we could offset that, or as far as I want to transition into a better diet? I do a little almond milk, but I'm trying to acquire that taste. But I do lactose-free milk. But as far as cooking with your food when you need milk and stuff like that, you buy these little supplements, but it just
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I think a lot of us, especially you see it more so in African Americans, that's probably one of the common things I'll see or I'll detect when I'm talking to African American patients. They're like, Doc, what's up with this gas? I got this gas and bloating. And for me, it happened when I was around 32, 33. I noticed when I had like a milkshake one day, it tore me up. And then from then on, I couldn't really tolerate milk to that degree. I can still tolerate it some. I can tolerate, cream of crab soup. I just know how to do it and when to do it. I don't do it at the beginning of my meal. I'll kind of eat it halfway through my meal.
Gotcha.
Towards the tail end, and I realized I could tolerate it without having any issues. But what happens is as we get older, we lose the enzyme to help us digest the sugar in milk. And when we can't digest the sugar in milk, the bacteria in your colon can, and it turns it into gas and water. Hence the gas, the bloating, the noisy stomach, and the diarrhea, depending on how much you're consuming. So going to lactose-free milk is a good thing, but you can also maybe supplement. Like I go to lactose-free milk, but then if I'm out eating something that has dairy in it that's rich or creamy, then I'll just use lactate tablets. So you just take some of the enzymes right before your meal, and a lot of times that will allow you to digest that sugar in milk. So doing bacon and having stuff like that, you can probably tolerate stuff that has dairy in it if you use the lactate tablets. Cheesecake may tear you up if you don't do the lactate tablets, but you still may have some of the enzyme. It just depends. You just got to figure out what you can get away with and what you cannot.
Gotcha.
Yeah.